The goal of iterative least squares is to do least squares, but do it efficiently when you have these massive data sets and the matrix multiplication O of n cubed becomes prohibitively expensive. So let's start by getting some intuition for what we're going to do and what I mean by iterative least squares. First of all, when I say iterative least squares is non-iterative. You have a closed form solution, x transpose x inverse times x transpose times y, and you solve that in one step. And what we're going to do is something that sort of moves us towards the solution that we want, and it's going to go something like this. Let me remind you what this plot is. We're still back to our line fitting with two unknowns, linear and the unknowns, u1, u2, slope, and intercept. So the axes here are corresponding to the slope and to the intercept. And the contours here correspond to equal values of the underlying quadratic error function. So as I move along one of the contours here, the error stays exactly the same. And of course, I want to get to that point right there corresponding to the slope and to the intercept that minimizes the quadratic error. Now, here's the intuition. Let's say that this space is my space of possible solutions. Every point in here corresponds to a slope and the intercept. So let's say I just started some random point right there. Let me call it u0. And where do I want to go? I want to go to that point right there, dead center, where the error is minimal. Starting at a random point u0, step down the parabolic surface until the error is minimal. So I'm going to start at this point, and I'm going to start walking down the surface. By the way, how do I know it's parabolic? Because it's a quadratic error function. That hasn't changed. So I'm going to start walking down the surface, and eventually what's going to happen is I'm going to start, if I just kept going in that direction, I'm going to start increasing the error. No good. I'm trying to get to the bottom, so I'm going to go down until I start to go back uphill, and I'm going to just stop there for a second. And then what I'm going to do is, starting at u0, the way I'm going to do this is pick a direction and take a step downward. Okay? And then when I get to that new position, what I'm going to do is, well, repeat. Pick a new direction and a new step size to take, and then go down. So that's this step right here. And then I'm going to repeat over and over again. So start at some random position, pick a direction, and take a big step downward until the error doesn't increase anymore. And then do it again, and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. And eventually you'll get to the bottom because you keep going down, down, down. And this is important, you actually have a parabolic surface. It's not some rocky surface where you're going to get stuck on the way down. So a couple of questions. One is, well, okay, so that's all fine and good, but now I have to decide on two things. How do I know what direction to go into given a random starting point? And how do I know how far to go down? And so those are the two things we're going to have to figure out. And once we figure that out for the first step, well, then we'll have it for the second step and the third step and the fourth step. So we just got to figure it out once. Why, by the way? Because if this is my initial condition and I got to here, well, this could have been my initial condition and that would have been the first step. So every step is going to be exactly the same. Pick a direction along where the error is minimizing, pick a step size, take a jump, take a jump, take a jump, take a jump, and then we're eventually going to end up at the minimum. By the way, do you see why we're calling it iterative least squares? Because you take a step, step, step. We're iterating down to a minimum instead of having that closed form analytic solution. So I'm not going to derive in this lecture exactly how to do it, but let me give you some intuition, and then later on we're of course going to derive it. So here's the intuition. What I'm showing you in this plot again is the contours. So each of the circles here or the ellipses are equal contour. And what I've drawn here, these little vectors, is the direction of steepest descent, right? So for example, you notice that the vectors up in this corner over here are going up because the error is increasing as I go away. And that means, of course, it's decreasing in the other direction. And so the intuition here is we're going to sit at this point and we want to move what? In the direction of the steepest descent, okay? So that's sort of the intuition. You can imagine sitting here and you can look at the contour above you and below you and say, well, what is the direction of steepest descent? So I don't want to go up the hill, I want to go down the hill until I get to the bottom. And so the intuition here is we're going to start at U0. We're going to step in the direction that decreases the error most quickly. So in particular, if I'm here and I move, for example, in this direction, that's the quickest. But if I move in this direction, it's still going down, but not quite as fast. So we want to move in the direction where we're going down as fast as possible. Imagine you're on your bike and you want to go fast. So you pick where it's steepest and you go down in that direction. Now we're going to stop. The step size will be when we've gone too far. We go down, we're going to hit some low part, and then we're going to go back up the hill. I don't want to go back up the hill. I want to stop at the middle. So now we have to solve two problems. For any given random position, and for a quadratic error surface defined by, of course, our data. This is the data. This is the error associated with a particular data set. I've got to figure out what is the direction and what is the step size. And then there's a bunch of implementation details that we're going to have to worry about. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to talk about now how do we determine, obviously analytically, to determine the direction size, the step size. We're going to do that over and over again. And then it's going to turn out when we go to implement this, there's a whole other set of things that we have to worry about in this iterative least squares. But we'll worry about that once we figure out how to do the direction and step size minimization.